but for those who do not know me, I'm Martin. And I work for Edrazware, and we produce product which is based on Activiti, and it integrates together case management, task management, process management, and all these systems. So it is something like meta system for integrating another engines together. So why I came here is I want to tell you one story which has happened to me, and maybe that you will find it interesting too. So once, it was some time ago, I met my old friend. She was my former employer, and at that time she was using our product, and so I was eager to know the feedback, right? So how is it good or not, or whether there are any problems, and so on. So, and I could be sure that she is going to tell me the truth. And I was really proud of our work, and I expected that everything will be okay. And it was, right, it was doing what we promised. So there were processes, they were running. From our point of view, there was no issue. Right? So what we promised, it was there. So, but I felt that there is something wrong, right? So I asked her. So that's another thing. So I asked her, what is wrong? What is the problem? And she said, Martin, you know, we are spending so much time in testing. So we spend a lot of resources, time, and it is still not good, right? So we are finding bugs at the end of the process when we have thousands of process instances already running, and it is not easy to migrate this fix, right, to this new process definition. So already running process instances to new process definition, and so I answered, okay, no problem. You need to include this automatic testing, and you have to do that. That's easy. Okay, so her first question was, okay, how can I write automatic test? And my answer was really simple, right? Yes, we have JUnit template. You can test it easily, right? Millions of JUnit tests, and it will be fine. Okay. So my answer was testing, and she answered that okay, this language is unknown. It's too complicated. It is not easy to define. And I just thought, okay, you are too lazy. You are too lazy to learn Java. So that was my idea, right? So it is no problem. I will learn. I will teach you Java, and you will do that. No problem. But after that, she asked something else. She asked a very simple question: where can I run the test? So our product is something like I will show you, but it is something like Activiti Explorer. It is a little bit wider, but basically that's all. So where in the Activiti Explorer can I run the test? It is not possible. So that was my surprise that she may be right. So we have no environment to run this JUnit test. So that was the issue. So I can run this JUnit test on my environment without any problem in IDEA, in Eclipse, everywhere, right? But she is not able. So at that time I recognized that maybe she is right. So let's take this simple example, right, from the template. I extended it a little bit, and let's test it. So the basic idea is to provide environment in which process modeler can easily define tests and can do that. So I've taken this mouse here. Okay. So why don't we use processes to test processes, right? So basically we can take process, define test, just create engine, blah 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 blah, and do the job, right? So we can start process instance, complete process instance, and complete task. Right. So the idea was simple. We can allow modeler to model process model in which we can test another process model, another process instance which is running, and this process instance can be driven by this test. So we can start process, we can complete task, we can make assertions whether variable exists or not. We can complete this task, and again we can assert that the process is finished and close the engine. So just a simple idea. I don't know whether I will be able to use it.
And here you just
no,
like
I don't know. But thank you. Okay, so let's have a look. How does it work? So this one. This one is here we have a model dashboard, and on this model dashboard there is one application to test, right? We have a process to test. It is the same as it is on the presentation, or was on the presentation. And let's have a look on this happy path process test. So let's go back to the modeler and this one. Okay. So in creating process engine, we have one process engine in the product, but we need a second process engine to start to run this process instance. Because from my point of view, it is not needed to run tests or results of the tests, because it can fail. It can be really damaging for in the production environment. That's why we have two process engines, one virtual process engine to run these tests, and this process engine configuration can be in the memory, okay? So there is no side effect into the database, and everything is safe, let's say. So in this first step, we will create this process engine, and after that, in this second step, we can deploy process definition, right? So I kept there these Groovy scripts to understand what is really done there. So at first we'll get this process engine to perform test, and after that we deploy to the repository service process to test from the class code. Okay. So the next step is to start process. It is again the simple one in Groovy, getting test process engine. After that, we are getting process to test, and we are starting this instance, and that's all. Next step, complete task, again in Groovy, but it can be changed to user task or no, to special tasks, which can be specialized to completing tasks. Okay, and again we can put variable there, which can, and after that we can make assertion. Okay, so that was the first step. So in the second, we can improve these events and so on. But that was the first thought. I won't say you now what was the feedback, but let's have a look on something else. Okay, it is similar to JUnit test, right? So in that way, we should expect exceptions in some exceptional cases, and let's have a look on something like this one, right? That we have process, and after the task completion, we have error event. So the process to test this test process is just simple, but after completion we are expecting this error, and we are catching it in a boundary error event. And after that, we are normally causing the engine, and that is fine because this is expected exception, right? When this exception doesn't occur, we are going to this error state, and we are throwing exception again. So it is when exception is expected, we are ending normally, but when this exception doesn't occur, we are throwing another exception. So it is something like flag that this test has failed. Okay. So now let's have a look. How does it work? So when we have this process definition, right? So it is almost the same as it was before, but the only change here is this one, right? So we are catching all exceptions, and after that we are closing engine. Okay, just closing this process engine to test. Okay. So let's have a first look. Execution. So now I will go back to model dashboard, to use the dashboard. I have there one case. I don't want to bother you with cases and all this stuff. We are focusing just on processes. So let's run this happy path test. Okay, so this test has successfully passed, and now let's start this expect error test. Okay, it has passed through because we are expecting this exception, and it is catched there. Okay, there is to show that it is working. I have there another process. I have there, right, this one. Right. But I am running this first process definition, which is not throwing exceptions, so that's why this one is failing. So just to show that this result is real, I will run this failing test. Okay. So process cannot be started because there is no catching error event to catch error from this process instance. All right. So what we have now is that we have possibility to define test in the way in which modeler will understand. but one thing is missing. As in JUnit test, we have plenty of JUnit tests, but they must be run in some framework, right? So I have implemented just a simple main in which in the first step we create a test process engine. After that we are fetching all tests, right, with test in the name, and they must be in this PUnit test, the test process category. So we are getting all tests, and after that we run all of them, and after that we can wait to finish all the tests just for job executors of it to done its job, and so we can close the engine. But again, this can be run from the command line, but in Java environment, again, it cannot be run from our product. So that's the issue. So that's why I took it and implemented the same process in Modeler in Activiti. So in the first step, we fetch all tests. After that, we will run all of them, and we can have a report from it. Right. So I'm going to clean up stack traces. Okay, and now let's run this process testing framework. Okay, so it has run, and here is just a simple report, right? That happy test has passed, and it will fail for others, but this one is configured only to run this happy path test. So let's go back to presentation. Okay, so after that I asked again, what do you think now? It must be good, right? And he answered again. So yes, it is known language. It is, and now it is not so complicated for me to run these tests and to understand them. They are runnable because we have this PUnit engine in the product, and it is easy to run it. And we can have reports and so on. It doesn't matter whether we have now just 2 lines of code. It can be anything else. But it is not easy to define. And what I did, right? I took this logic from Java and I put it into process, into Groovy script. There is nothing new. So the complexity was changed, but but it was transferred from Java just to Groovy. So she needs to learn Groovy again, and that's again the issue. So we are back again, and I was surprised. So we are at the beginning again. We have process, and we need to test it. So I took this tape, and we have history, right, in the Activiti. We have events from the history, and we can switch them on, switch them off. We can lock all events into something like this tape. So all these events are recorded on this tape. Can you imagine that? I hope yes, right? Because it is standard way how to store history in the Activiti. And after that, we can take this tape and we can play all these events, right, from the beginning to the end. And we can make assertion after that. So it is really easy for her to create such a test and to run it. So it is really no problem to do that. And the only problem there is this assertion, right? So in this step, we will replay all events from this process, from the regular work. So it means that Gabika will create events like complete task from the UI, a complete task, decisions, setting variables, and so on and so on. And after that, after some time, she can stop her work and make assertions, and after that the test is finished. The only thing which is needed is to specify query, to query all events which I did during some time. And what is good with it is that I can replay all events. It means all timer events or events which were present in the engine. So it means that this test can be affected by other tests too, right? Okay. So next idea was to use just random testing, right? To use generator to generate events which will be played back and can create another test results. For example, we can use that for okay. So we can use that for ensuring us that we are able to go everywhere into process, right? Whether we are all tasks in the process is feasible, because it is not so common, right? So this I wrote an article about it some time ago, and you have seen it already. But with the red color is marked steps or step into which we didn't approach in this random test. Okay, so so that's all from this part. And but there is one critical thing in this testing, because when we will run these events, right, we will come to the step in which we can call external systems. And when we will run this test, this external system will create new objects, or it will do its job. Right? So that's why we need mocking. But again, it is really simple, because when we change this behavior, this service task behavior, to be only playback behavior, it means that it will take inputs and it will produce outputs without any service call or without any Groovy script. It can be easily mocked. So mocking is easy. It can be done without any issue and without any additional specification. So there are two approaches in this mocking. I will use this one, right? But what I did some time ago for this simulation, and it is just this playback copy activity behavior. It is changing behavior of all service tasks to to just play back what was done in the history. So it takes inputs and it will produce outputs directly from the service. But as you can see here, it is done in process definition, and that's the issue, because when you want to run several other simulation experiments or several other tests, so maybe that we don't need this behavior to be done there. So from my point of view, it could be specified in this JUnit test, and I'm working just on it. Okay, so mocking, and now she was satisfied, right? That okay, I can create these tests, I can run them. It can be easily mocked, so I have no side effects. So I'm fine with that. But after that, I asked the question: so what we can do more for her? Because when I look on the process definitions and on processes, it is something from my point of view, because I'm Java developer, right? So I'm always comparing these processes with Java program. And I have plenty of possibilities to test Java, my Java code, to profile it, to debug it, and so on and so on. But these modelers, they are doing similar job. They are specifying processes, right? But they don't have debugger, they don't have any profiling tools, any testing tool. So that's why I think their job is much harder than ours, or mine. So that's why I thought about this debugger. And what I would expect from this debugging tool, that I want to debug processes, but I want to be focused only on one process, not on a lot of processes, but only on one from the history. But this one execution can be affected by these other executions too. So it means that for example, I'm working on something, but service is not responding on time because of performance issues of some another system. So it is really hard to reproduce such a state. So it is quite common that customer says that we have this issue and you have to fix it. And we are saying, okay, but we are not able to reproduce it, because now everything is working. These services are responding, and everything is okay. So it is really hard to reproduce this issue. But with this state and replaying all events, we can get engine from one state to another, to exactly the time when this exception has occurred, and we can debug exactly the instance of the process. So because in this simulation, time is virtual, and we can put the time forward or backward as we want to. Okay. So. I have only 5 minutes. So if you are interested, we can discuss it later. But I have another topic. I have 2 topics left. So this. Do you know something about Activiti crystal ball and simulations? Okay. So it is just a simple simulation engine which is able to replay this tape and is able to generate these events too. And after that, it is able to reproduce these events. So let's imagine that we have a process, and I'm always thinking about the company which is using processes for its job, like assembly line. So we are sitting on the assembly line, and this assembly line is doing its job. But I am this assembly line manager, so I am responsible to keep KPIs. right? So each request or each loan or anything, each case must be finished in 30 days. Am I able to achieve this KPI? So currently I have 1,000 processes in my assembly queue, but I don't know whether I am able to achieve this KPI. So let's use simulation to generate new events to get engine to the state which will be in 30 days in the future. And I can predict with that the probability that this escalation will occur. So let's say that this escalation will occur only in the case when we were not able to keep these 30 days limits here. So the probability to escalate one of these 1,000 processes is 67%. So it is possible to do that with crystal ball. Okay. So and that's my last topic. So I think that all of us know this BPM lifecycle. And so modeling, execution, monitoring, and optimization. And it is done in the cycle. But from my point of view, this cycle takes time, and it is not useful in agile development, I would say, because when we model something, we are not sure whether execution will benefit from it. We are just hoping that it will. But with simulation, we can predict whether these changes will be sufficient, efficient, and so on. And so that's one thing. So as I said, we can use the simulation for decision support. And the thing which was not mentioned is this training. Because when I imagine pilot, right? Nobody is sitting in the plane without any training. And these assembly lines, they are complex and they are a lot of money. But we are putting these process managers on this assembly line without any training. So we should prepare them for exceptional situations. We can model them and we can simulate them, like for the pilots in the airplane, to prepare them for real life and for real problems and how to solve them. We can train the staff on this assembly line to do its job, because it is not easy, and it can be, from my point of view, really useful. Okay, so if there is any question, I can answer that.
So we've got a 15-minute break now, which is quite short, but so I'd be swift about getting that. We'll have longer over lunchtime to catch up, but yeah, 15-minute break.